Does it filter in public education? How does it work in public education? What does your experience tell you? What does your research tell you? Because the difference is broad strokes, things here are not fair, things there are not fair.
Mm-hmm.
But what are the mechanisms? You started to describe them.
Mm-hmm.
Dress, some idea about a codified professionalism.
Mm-hmm. I mean, another way that this exists in academia is, for women in academia, is around children and pregnancy. And so a lot of women choose to have a dissertation baby so that when they go on the job market, they're not pregnant. Other women choose to do that during their postdoc for similar reasons. We are encouraged in our professional development and mentoring not to explicitly ask about when you go on the job market and you're at an interview, that you're not, as a woman, you're not supposed to talk about the fact that you have children or that they might be a deciding factor in your decision to go to that school or institution or research organization or whatever. That it's supposed to be this silent part of your life that doesn't interfere with your work. And that's evident in the fact that a lot of women are not offered an extension on when they're up for tenure for having given birth during their time at an institution.
Do you feel roles are chosen? Do you feel you choose roles for yourself or others choose roles for you in public education? In your experience as a TA, following that discussion about inequality in the workplace.
Yeah, I definitely feel like roles tend to be chosen for me. I certainly have autonomy over some small decisions that I make, like my everyday experience. I can choose what I wear today or tomorrow. But if I go up for an interview or at a professional conference, I do need to tailor my dress to what is considered a little bit more professional, although I don't go to the traditional extreme. I certainly consider that.
But what role,
Mm-hmm.
not description of the role,
Mm-hmm.
what role is chosen for you? The professional woman is understood. Are there any other roles that are chosen for you here in as your position as a TA?
You mean other than my outline of duties?
No, I
that
mean
I talked about?
the codes that you must meet, and if it's you had talked about dress, is there behavior? Is there speech? Are there interactions that are limited because you're a woman? Are there ethnic or racial roles which you are assigned? Are there roles of sexuality that you find through your work, which are defined as you walk into the role of the TA?
I have certainly experienced certain roles being pushed on me simply because of my identity.
So let's talk about that. What kind of roles have been pushed on you?
So when I was asked to be a head steward at the union, which is a voluntary position, I was asked by a fellow member of the union that I should join because I'm a woman and we need more women in the union. And I was pressured to do this in a table of my peers who were all men. And so it felt like I was obligated to step forward because I would represent some sort of minority.
Okay. Anything between faculty or students as well?
I don't really think so. I can't off the top of my head really think of roles that are decided for me because I'm a woman. There are certainly decisions that are made for me because I'm a graduate student that I have to accept, and there are inherent power dynamics in being a graduate student versus a faculty member or advisor.
But okay, you want to tell me about those relative to your position as a TA?
Yeah, so we get a certain number of TA-ships a year, and often there are not enough TA-ships for TAs, and the people who get TA-ships, it's not necessarily based on financial need, it's based on how many TA shifts you've had prior and what your financial package that you were offered when you came in was. So
I'm not so much interested in the mechanics.
Okay.
For something, for a question like that.
Okay.
I'm more so interested in how it affects you. Psychologically, socially.
Sure. So
emotionally.
So I was offered a 3-year package when I came into this program, but this program is advertised as a 5 to 7 year program. Most of the time, we get this verbal assurance from professors and graduate students that there'll be enough TA ships. As a 3rd year, I'm at the end of my guaranteed funding package, and I've noticed that every single fall I've been here, there are not enough TA ships for 4th, 5th, 6th years. And so lots of people don't have a choice in their employment and they have to go elsewhere. There are these institutional barriers in place to finding outside employment. For example, I was offered a teaching position at an outside university that would actually pay a little bit more than my TA ship. However, our TA ship covers our tuition remission, so if I was going to work outside of the university, I would have to find enough money to cover my tuition so that I had healthcare that year. And it's just very difficult to find a job that doesn't take away more time than a TA ship does from my research, which is the primary reason I'm here, that also pays sort of a TA ship or 2 so that I can cover remission.
How do your projections of yourself at work and through your working identity differ from other people's perceptions?
Can you say that again?
How does your perception as a TA differ from other people's perceptions?
Of me?
Of your working identity?
Yeah, I think that some people feel like the TA ship is just a way to get a paycheck, and I've always been really passionate about teaching, so I want to be able to foster certain skills in my students, and it would be great if I got paid to do that and had time to do that, which I don't necessarily have. I think additionally that because the expectation at a research university is that you conduct research and you get publications, that the expectation is that your TA ship is toward the bottom of your priority list, even if it's really important to me to teach my students well. That I don't do so by going over hours, I don't spend too much time on papers, there are fast turnaround deadlines that I'm expected to meet regardless of other responsibilities, even if those responsibilities are research oriented, which I'm supposed to prioritize.
Sounds like you have a lot of work on your plate. Is there a specific role you seek to play in envisioning your portrait as a contemporary American worker? How do you envision that portrait of yourself as a contemporary American worker? There's no limit to fantasy or representation. You can present yourself in any respect as long as it references your working identity.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I would want to highlight the hustle, the busy pace, having to do something all day, every day. I woke up at 3:37 this morning to work on a draft for my research because I'm expected to work on research. And then I came into the office and continued working on that draft. I checked my emails and met with some students outside of both class section and my office hours. I met with them because they needed additional assistance, and so that's just sort of volunteer based that I do because it's important to me for them to get the support and scaffolding that they really need to be successful in developing some of the skills like writing and presenting skills that they're going to need no matter what industry they enter later. So the hustle, busy. I have a union meeting tonight till 8:30, so I will have been awake for a very long time.
So you obviously belong to a union.
I do belong to the union.
What roles do unions play in your life?
I think that the union plays a couple different roles in my life. First, there's a sense of belonging. I think a lot of graduate students and tutors and readers and TAs at this university feel like they're being taken advantage of by the university and they're not respected as workers, and their labor is really looked down upon. And so there is this camaraderie and sense of community and belonging that the union can bring to my world. Additionally, I want to make the change so that we can make a living wage and people from different backgrounds have like equal opportunities of employment and access to TA-ships and funding for more than half of their time here. And I think that the union is the best way for me to make the changes in my workplace that I want to see.
Can you describe an average day at work?
Yeah, so I usually wake up between 4 and 6 in the morning, depending on the day. And I come into the office pretty early, or I work at my home office pretty early. I tend to write in the mornings because I have time in the mornings. After I've done the exercise, get ready, make breakfast and lunch, come to work, write. I have an 8 a.m. lecture at present that I attend, 8 a.m. lecture and 8 a.m. Office hours. So I have to be here by then and have done those things by then. I have lecture. I usually stay after to talk to my students for about 20 minutes. And then depending on the day, I usually have either a class right after and then a break, or a break right after and then a class. The afternoons are either filled with a class or a colloquium or block walking for the union. Then I have additional classes and lab meetings, like 3 lab meetings a week right now. And there's usually some sort of evening activity, either oriented to like lab solidarity in my department, which is usually fun, but is certainly work oriented, because my lab, building a community with like my lab mates and my advisor is going to be really important for me moving forward in networking and like different collaborative opportunities that arise. And you don't want to seem like